Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So today we are going to be working on the focal point of this piece, the face of Link in the center. So first off, I want to thank everyone for all your lovely well wishes after I had to miss a session because I had a cold. So if my voice still sounds a little funny today, that's why. I'm not 100%, but I'm feeling better. So I figured I could do some stitching today and make a video for you all. Yeah, kind of sucked for most of the week. I wasn't tired enough to rest, like to actually sleep, but I didn't have enough energy to stitch. I just did not have the brain power. I tried, and yeah, I realized how much mental energy this takes because yeah, I could not concentrate. A couple days I did, maybe a dozen stitches and then just went, nope. I do not have the computing power today for that, so yeah. But yes, like I said, I thank you for all your get well soon wishes and all that. I read each and every one, and I appreciated. I really appreciated all of the support. Even though thankfully, like I said, it wasn't serious. And I hadn't had a cold in like a year and a half, so I guess I can't really complain. Yeah, I find I don't catch every cold that comes around, but when I do catch it, they tend to knock me out pretty good. So again, a lot of purple on this part, but I'm learning to trust this pattern. So we got Link's hair here, and then we're getting into his eye here, I think, soon. His blue eyes. Yeah, so kiddo has a week off school, so it means I can sleep in a bit too, which is nice. Yeah, it's nice when they're teenagers. They can care for themselves a bit more. Plus, sometimes he sleeps in a little later than me. Now that he's older. So I don't know if I mentioned in my last video, it's been a while, that, yeah, he made the electronic gaming team for Mario Kart 8, so, yeah. He's an alternate because he's in grade 10, and it's mainly for the 11-12s. But that means, yeah, if somebody has to drop out for whatever reason, he gets to step in. So he still goes to the practices and stuff. So yeah, he's having fun with that. Yeah, my husband got to see their gaming room at the school. He said it was pretty awesome. They have their own little monitors, but they also display up on these big screens too, so that other people can see how you're doing. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's wild how far games have come in our, just in my lifetime. We started off with the 8-bit original Nintendo. And then now, they have virtual reality games and stuff. Although more ways to injure yourself, right? Just like when the Nintendo Wii came out. Yeah, we haven't got the any virtual reality stuff. I said I hurt myself quite enough when my brain isn't being fooled, thinking I'm in a different dimension or something. So, Yeah, we never got the Wii either. My in-laws had it, so when we visited them, we played some there. It was funny because we were playing bowling, and I kept catching the controller on my skirt and messing up my swing. Not that I'm that great at bowling in real life, yeah. At my husband's work, his boss is part of a little local bowling league, and they had a couple players who were out for illness, and so my husband and I bowled for them, and I said, yeah, and I came in dead last, so yeah. I mean, it wasn't terrible. I wasn't much worse than everyone else, but I was definitely the worst. Yeah, my husband did pretty good. He got a few strikes and a couple of spares. I managed to knock down all the pins on one frame near the end, but I had to use all three to do it, so I didn't get a spare. Yes, as you can see, there's a bit of confetti here. A fair number of parked threads. Oh, let's try not to make knots. There we go. Yeah, which is part of the reason why I couldn't really stitch yesterday. My brain was just not at full capacity there, full ability there. If it had been a part with bigger blocks of color, I might have had more success. I actually pulled out my firefly and did some of the background, since that didn't really require much brain power. Yeah, I won't get as much firefly done this month since due to the illness, and I said I was gonna try to make 50% by the end of the month, but since I had to take a few days off to recover, that's probably not going to happen now. Yeah, I have a lot of this color parked here, as you can see. That's just the way it worked out, but also some of these threads are pretty short, like this one. In fact, it's probably only going to be good for one more stitch there. Yeah, I'm just gonna check all the threads of this color. That's a long one, okay. And then this one here. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter, okay. Helps me decide what I'm gonna do with it. Okay, so I'm going to do that one there. Then I'm gonna park this here. Yeah, so I'm just kind of skipping around a bit, just seeing, sort of going up and down this edge. Yeah, as I've said in previous videos, there isn't always a set rule for what color I choose next, just whatever makes sense to me, and sometimes just whatever I feel like. Or if I have, you know, a choice between two threads and one is already threaded and one isn't, then I'll choose the one that is already threaded, because why not? Yeah, so I may talk a little less because my throat is still not quite completely recovered. Been eating a lot of honey to help soothe it. Okay, let's take a look here. I think, oops, make sure I don't pull a different color out. There we go. I have a few threads going in different directions here, and some are shorter than others. Okay. Yes, as a color, I have quite a bit of leftover bits to use up. Yeah, having a bit of a cold snap right now, but not too bad. Given that we're getting close to March, I'm thinking that I was correct, and our worst cold was December, and we got it out of the way, which I certainly don't mind. We'll see how my my apple harvest does this coming spring, because I find the colder it gets in the winter, the better the yield. So we'll see. Yeah, we had after one of the coldest years when it got down to -50, yes, -50 Celsius. To give you an idea, -40 in Fahrenheit and Celsius is the same thing. So yeah, really, really, really cold. And yeah, the tree just produced like crazy the next year. It was so much. I got over 80 liters of juice out of it. It was just wild. I say every year, I kind of have to forget how much work it is because it's so tiring. The worst part is having to core all the apples, I find. But if you don't, they wear on your machine. And then my husband looked into an apple press, which is like, it's a big cylinder and basically the lid screws down and crushes the apples, but they still say you need to core it first. So, I mean, that kind of really doesn't save me any work. The coring is the worst part. So, yeah. Okay, so I'm going to split this section of black up a little bit because of the way it sort of goes past this diagonal line. Yeah. And I don't feel sort of like filling in everything above it in order to be able to do all of those stitches there. So I'm going to split them up. Oops. Got a lot of leftover bits. They're kind of tangling together a little bit. Okay, I'm thinking I'm actually going to use a couple of small pieces here. Use a single one for this stitch rather than parking it. Otherwise, I had a longer piece and I would end up with some leftover pieces at the end, and I have so many that I don't really want to make any more. So instead, I'm going to use up this piece, which is only good for a single stitch. And then I'll use a different thread for those other 3 down there, which I may not even get to in this diagonal, as it's, yeah, kind of going past it. So I may do it when I'm doing the next diagonal. Yeah, I didn't realize Link's hair kind of goes quite low down on his face. Yeah, it was funny. One of my friends made a post and she said something about MM, and it turned out she meant Marilyn Manson. And I said, oh, my geek self thought that you meant Majora's Mask. I guess it's really on my mind with my stitching it here. Oh dear. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Yes, I'm going to do this one. I'm going to kind of just cut it off there. Leave it for the next section. So I'm going to do these 5, and then I'm going to sort of park it over by 2 stitches so that it's set up for the next diagonal cross. So yeah, we're super close to 50%. The center stitch is right about like here. Of course, because I go diagonally slanting, once I reach it, I won't be exactly 50% yet. But 47. So we may not reach 50% by the end of the month, but pretty close. Yeah, life got in the way. That happens. Okay, so park that there, and then that's ready for the next diagonal. Now this one is medium length. So I'm going to do these 2 here. Oh, goodness. There we go. And then park that right in that corner there. Okay, again, I'm going to check different threads I have. Okay, that's a longer one. I think this is a shorter one. Yes, okay, perfect. Then this will be just right to do these 2 stitches here and tie it off. So yeah, I got the new update for the pattern keeper, which now you can filter out the zeros in your list, which is really cool. So you can toggle it on and off, and it can go either by color number, or you can sort it by how many stitches you have left, ascending or descending. So yeah, that's really nice, especially for people who maybe stitch extreme cross country and want to finish up, you know, the color with the least stitches first, or maybe they want to do the color with the most stitches first so they have more landmarks to work off of, that sort of thing. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I really appreciate how responsive the developer is to new ideas. Because yeah, I've been wanting to toggle the zeros out for quite a while. It's kind of nice when you get to the end and you have only, you know, 3 or 4 colors left. You don't have to scroll through the entire list that way. You can just whoops, I unthreaded it if it was threaded. That's okay. Yeah. It's really short, so generally I don't leave them threaded when they're that short, because it's just not going to stay. Needle's not going to stay on the thread. Yeah, so again, you can see this half of Link's face is in shadow. This half is shiny because of the fairy is providing the light there. So yeah, there's a bit more shadow on this picture when you stitch it up as compared to the mock-up, but I am happy with how it's turning out. Oh, yeah. And as soon as I pulled that, that was only one of the 2 threads that came through the eye. Oh, wow, those are really uneven. Huh. Doesn't usually end up that uneven. I don't see a knot back there, so I'm going to assume it's okay. Okay, and then I think I checked this earlier, but I forgot. Yeah, okay, that is a short one. That's right. So this is the thread here that I'm going to continue on with. And I'm thinking, pardon me, I'm probably going to end up with more than 1 thread this color. We'll see. Although, I think I can see a way that I won't have to for the time being. I don't mind adding new threads, but if I can avoid it, then I do so. Oh, there's another uneven one. Okay. So I think I'll use another shorter piece again. And not carry it, I'll just do that one there in that corner. Yeah, so a lot of time what length of thread I decide to add depends on what I have available. If I didn't have a short piece, then I of course would add a long one here and park it down below, but since I have a short one to use up, I will do that. Okay, this is another short one, so oh, no, I picked up, I just realized that's the wrong color yet. Oh, that's a gray, and I know 3371 is like a brown, black sort of color, so that's okay. There, this is the correct one. I have to be careful about that. I've done that before, and then left myself with a whole mess to sort out later. That was not fun. So yeah, the colors are kind of going opposite the diagonal, which means I end up changing threads quite a lot more. But that's okay. Ah, this is longer than I expected. I guess I didn't have any short ones when I added a piece here. Yeah, definitely shadow here because in the game, Link's hair is more of a blonde color than a brunette. Okay, now I remember this one here I think is only long enough for a stitch. Yeah. Actually, I might carry this over. Okay, yeah, I'm going to carry this over here and do these 2 stitches over to the right when I get to them with that same thread. I might as well, rather than ending it off, it is long enough. Got a lot of needles here, so we'll see if we can get them out without untangling them, or if I may have to reset. Yeah, starting to tangle a bit here. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of threads in this area, so I have to be careful. It's a little more prone to tangling if I don't watch it. Oh, so I went through quite a saga. Recently, I wanted to order some of these magnetic cable ties that I've seen a lot of people use to sort of help keep their extra fabric contained. So I ordered these, and they said the magnets were strong, but they were totally wimpy. They wouldn't hold even through a single layer of fabric. It was not good. So I did some research and found a specific brand that people had mentioned that they said are good and strong. And I ordered them, and you know, as usual, eagerly stalking the tracking information and all this stuff, and it shows up to my house, and it's a completely empty envelope. Nothing in it, not even a packing slip. They just, yeah, they stuck the label on an envelope and sealed it up and sent it. There's nothing in there. So I email them, and they say, oh, you know, what's the problem? You got the product, but the package was empty? I said, I got a package with absolutely nothing in it. You know, and they said, oh, well, can you send us a picture of the problem? I'm like, okay. So I take a picture of me holding the empty envelope open, showing there's nothing but air inside. It's like, don't give me a chance to be snarky, because, you know, I'll take full advantage. And I get back, oh yeah, we're sorry about that. You know, we'll contact our packaging team to make sure that doesn't happen again. We'll give you a refund. Well, I wait and I wait and I wait, and I don't get my confirmation email, because this was through Amazon, a marketplace third-party seller, and they always send you a confirmation email that there's a refund being processed, and I get nothing. So I go to Amazon's customer service separately and said, look, you know, this is what happened. They said they're going to send me a refund. They haven't yet. They said, okay, we're going to let them know that you should get a refund. And then I get back, well, according to our tracking information, you know, you got the package. I said, I've been through this. I got an empty package. I ordered it and you sent me nothing. So then finally they give me the refund, but it was just like, I mean, how do you send a completely empty package? It's not like I ordered, you know, a postcard or something that I could see maybe somebody thought it was in there. I mean, it was a pack of like a dozen cable ties that should have been, you know, like 1/3 of a pound and, you know, fairly large. I mean, larger than, you know, nothing. Oh, goodness. So, yeah, I've had a real hit and miss with Amazon Marketplace, I find. Some sellers are great, but I had the one where I ordered my Morgan hoop stand set a few months ago, and it was supposed to be a 10 and 14 set, and they sent me a 1 9-inch hoop. And fortunately, as soon as I told them about it, they did give me a refund, and I got an email like 5 minutes later that had been processed. So, like, I kind of wondered, is it, you know, like a scam where they send empty envelopes and hope that enough people don't chase it up to make it worth it? But yeah. Yeah, I had a cousin of mine who said, the guy told her, oh, well, if you leave me, you know, positive feedback, I'll give you a refund. She's like, yeah, I told him where to stick that suggestion. Not doing that. Why should I give you positive feedback when I ended up with nothing? Yeah, and leave myself with no recourse? Yeah. I wasn't born yesterday. Ugh. Or I had one of my friends says they had a really big mix-up. They must have got someone else's order and the other person got theirs, because they said, we got a dog collar when I ordered, you know, like, I think it was shoes or something. He says, we don't even own a dog. So, yeah. I mean, I could understand getting the wrong product more than getting absolutely nothing in the envelope, you know? At least you would feel that there was something in there. But, yeah. Thinking, I wonder if the courier people were like, yeah, there's nothing in this envelope, but they gotta deliver it anyway, right? Oh. You have to watch too on eBay. Some places they purposely give you such a big window of the delivery that it's past the claim date, so that they can claim, oh well, you know, we said it wouldn't arrive until such and such a date. That date hasn't passed, and so it expires your PayPal claim date. So yeah, you have to watch that. I mean, usually when I ordered those things, they were really cheap, like a few bucks, so whatever, right? But still, I'd rather not get scammed, you know? Yeah, and I said, you know, in the end, I got my money back, but, I mean, I would rather have the product. That's kind of what I wanted when I bought it in the first place. So finally, what I ended up doing is I went to the hardware store and I bought some strong magnets, and I stuck them to these ones with tape. So they're kind of ugly, but they work. So I was thinking of using super glue, but I was really afraid I was going to glue myself to it, because of course there's already magnets in the cable ties. So when I was putting the new magnets on, they kind of jumped. And yeah, I don't want to do that with super glue. I don't want to get myself stuck to it. So yeah. My husband's like, well, I might be able to. I'm like, okay, but I'm not risking it. I'm clumsy enough as it is. I don't really need to be adding super glue and jumping magnets to it. And the tape is not the prettiest, but it works now, so. Yeah, but I can tell you, online sellers, when they say strong magnets, there is a huge range between what they might consider strong and what I consider strong. Like, I was reading people's reviews and somebody said, yeah, these say they're strong, you know, but I used them on my fridge and they can only hold up one sheet of paper. Any more than that and they fall down, so yeah. And then there are some who say, yeah, these magnets were so strong I couldn't get them apart, you know, so. So yeah, what I did, like I said, I went to the hardware store where I could actually try them myself to see how strong they were. Yeah, so in the end, cost me about the same to cobble together my own, to buy the pre-made ones. Oh goodness. There we go. I was thinking I was going to have to trim that, but finally got it to cooperate. Yeah, so it was kind of frustrating with my stitching, because a couple days ago I felt well enough to stitch like 300 that day, and then the next day, yeah, just brain was fried and I didn't do more than, you know, 30. So yeah, threw off my goal, but oh well, I'm not working on deadline here. So. Didn't get it done in time. Kind of disappointing, but not a huge deal. This is just for fun. See if this piece is long enough or if I'm going to need a second one. Again, this is a color I've got quite a lot of leftover bits left that I'd like to use up. Oops. There we are. Just squeaked it out. Nice. Just barely enough to pin stitch this in place. Yeah, I find that's one thing I like with pin stitches. I can sort of use right to the very end even easier than when I draw it along the back. And sometimes those couple of millimeters can make the difference as to whether you need to get a new piece or not, whether you can get one last stitch out of it. Okay, I think, yeah, I'm gonna have to reset now. This is starting to get to be too many needles. We're gonna end up with a tangle, so that sometimes happens when I sort of go back and forth across the edge there. can end up with quite a few live needles, and then gotta reset things so we don't end up with a hopeless tangle. Generally don't have to do this that often though, I find. And yeah, once we get the needles removed, we can just kind of carefully pull these apart. There we go. No problem. Okay, so back to this color here. So this is one I'm going to be able to use one thread for a bit, but I may need to add another. So I'm going to go down this way and back up. And then can you see what I'm going to do next? Yeah, I filled in all of this so that I could do all these 5 at once. Okay, and then I'm going to do those 3 there. So I was able to skip around a bit with this thread so that I don't have to add another, but still avoid closing stuff in. Yes, someone said it's kind of like a logic puzzle, which is, yeah, what I enjoy about this method. But also why it takes a fair bit of brain power. Which makes it a little harder when you're tired. Yeah, these magnets now on these cable ties are even stronger than my my thread magnets, the ones I use to keep my threads organized. Well, I certainly don't mind more than one place to rest the needles. Yeah, it was pretty miserable. I was sick because my neck got pulled again. Thankfully recovered enough to see my chiropractor again, so they released that pinched nerve for me, because that was not fun. Yeah, sometimes I can go a couple of years before I need to see them again, and then sometimes I only manage a week or two. It's really off. Yeah, my son had problems on the same side, his right side of his neck too, and my mother as well, so I think it might be partially genetic, although it could also be I was born by forceps. My son was as well, so yeah, who knows. Okay, I'm going to come back to that in a bit. I'm going to fill in some of this stuff that's up higher up along the diagonal first before I work all this stuff down here. bit of bigger blocks there, so it should go a little quicker, I think. Okay, so yeah, seeing Link's hair in this shadowy part of his face goes quite far ways down before we get to his eye. All right, another color, 3829. Yeah, it's funny, the owl character in the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. In Ocarina of Time, he turns his head sort of upside down at one point, and my husband says he looks like a chicken, which I cannot see it. Neither can my son. But yeah, it's funny, they said Nintendo were good trolls. If you played that game, he always ended up where he says, "Do you want to hear what I said again?" And it's on yes, and I think every time you played it, at least once, you accidentally hit yes, and then you had to go through his whole speech again. And you get to the end and think, okay, and then you accidentally select yes again. So somebody had a joke. There was a guy who was doing the piano covers of the soundtrack, and he did the Owls theme. And then somebody said, you know, you should put the card at the end where it, you know, it can take you to other videos that he's done. It says, and have it so that it links back to the beginning of this one. So it's more like the game. Yeah, that theme had a very, almost like Mozart or variations on a theme Bach kind of a feel to it. But I liked the owl vision in Ocarina of Time when he carries you down the mountain, so you get to see a big, yeah, overview. As if you were on the owl's back. Yeah, definitely going to need more than one thread here, especially because this one here is not very long. So it's going to run out pretty soon. Yeah, I remember during the pandemic, I was looking at masks, and they had a Legend of Zelda one that said it's dangerous to go alone, take this, which was pretty cute, and I kind of wanted it, but yeah, after my shipping and import duties and everything was going to be like $60, so I was like, yeah, it's cute, but it's not that cute. Actually, I may avoid adding another thread here. Yeah, so I'm going to park this right here and then carry on with it downwards. It's just not going to cooperate. Oh, pardon me. Oh. Yeah, still low on energy while I recover. Oops, rats. Just had it lined up and then I pulled it apart again by accident. Hate when I do that. This is a very short piece. Might almost be too short. We'll see. We'll give it a try. I'm a thread miser. Nope, we got it. Okay, so all of these threads here, set them aside. I think even these ones here too. No, these ones are further down. Yeah, it's these ones. Okay. Yeah. larger block here, so that bit will go a little quicker. Still didn't get any of Link's eyes done. I guess it'll be in the next diagonal. Okay, and if I do these three, that'll give me an even 140, and I think that's where I will leave it for today. Okay, so yeah, I wasn't sure I'd be able to get a video done in time for you all, but I managed to, so glad I managed to do that. So thank you so much for joining me today, and hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.